What is up, YouTube fam? Robbie C here. We are back with another day of Vlogmas, and today we are experimenting. We've been trying to work on some distance, and I think this could be a great next step for us seeing that change in our game. But before we dive in, of course, we got to ask, how are you doing today, Reed? Are you having a good one? We've obviously taken a year off of our sanctioned tournaments trying to increase our distance, trying to increase that golf shot accuracy. And in order to have golf shot accuracy, we have to push our overall distance ceiling. The higher we push that distance ceiling, the more so our golf shot accuracy, when we get consistent in throwing that, can kind of ramp up. As you've been watching Vlogmas this year, you notice that my form might look a little bit different, or maybe to y'all it doesn't look different, but at least it feels very different in my eyes and what I'm trying to accomplish. Part of that has come from form change and things like that, but one of the things I'm trying to really focus on right now is the speed of the hand, trying to get this hand to just go significantly faster. We talked about it in day 2, and so it's been a large focus point. But in having the conversation with my coach, as well as my brother who's a physical therapist, we got into the idea of powerlifting, or if you're trying to increase rep or weight or speed, efficiency, whatever, you're trying to build the muscles, which has definitely been something that we talked about in terms of like my finger muscles not really being able to hold up because I've been doing it for a whole week of just sort of trying to grip and rip the disc. The theory is this: if I were doing competition weightlifting, whatever my competition weight was that I was trying to pull off, outside of that, I would be lifting heavier weight so that it was easier to do said weight inside of the competition, or at least that's kind of what the thought process is. Kind of like baseball, where you put the donut on before you swing the bat. It just gets you used to swinging a heavier something, so that way when you swing in the actual moment, it's easier and you can go faster. So we wanted to put this theory to the test, but of course I needed heavier discs. Now Gateway sells training wizards, which come into like 220 grams, but it has a putter feel, which is not necessarily translating to a driver feel. And so I needed to get a hold of someone who had the ability to create heavier discs. And thankfully, we've got just the guy. Called my guy Jesse at TrashPanda, and he hooked us up with some dunes that are not necessarily PDGA legal. We've got 4 dunes here in yellow, bright yellow, 181, 181. So we've got 181 gram discs. So we're about 6 grams heavier than a max weight distance driver. And even the distance drivers that I throw aren't necessarily always 175. I throw 170s, I throw 168s, I'll throw 172. So this is even faster or heavier than them, about 10 grams heavier. Now the dune is a disc that I absolutely love and I enjoy throwing, and I currently actually have 2 dunes in the bag. I've got this organically sourced salmon that 175 that is beautiful, but it's definitely flippier. And then I have this dune in the purple that is 172 grams. So these are 9 grams heavier than the purple one and about 6 grams heavier than the flippy salmon one. How do we get a heavier disc? I actually asked Jesse about this, and one of the things he pointed out is that in order for people, like when you're building the molds and you're trying to inject the plastic, Jesse can certainly jump in the comments here to talk about this, but you kind of have to purposely make an overweight disc, because once you know your plastic blends and stuff you're sourcing and whatnot, you know exactly sort of what composition it's going to make, and so it fills the mold accordingly. So how do you get overweight stuff? Well, you intentionally make it, or when you're using fully recycled material and you don't necessarily know what's coming in, it's a lot harder to predict the weight. They kind of have to run some, see how much they're coming out, and make adjustments accordingly. The beautiful part about these is that if you're playing in a tournament, these are not PDGA sanctioned, these are not PDGA legal, so I can't actually throw these, but there's nothing saying that I can't use them as a training aid to get out there and practice with them. So instead of doing my reps with tech discs for the rest of the month, I'm actually gonna try doing my reps, my speed reps at least, with these, but I wanted to go to a field first to try and show you the difference, and are we actually seeing that much of a difference between how these fly versus the lighter weight ones? Let's check. We want to take a quick break from the action to talk about today's video sponsor, and you guessed it, it's TrashPanda. Jesse and the team make some incredible products, and there are a few people in the disc golf space who market as well as TrashPanda. I remember getting on the phone with Jesse many years ago and him telling me his vision and his goal, and I remember when we were doing our weekly phone calls and he told me that he was going to be unable to do those phone calls unless I was willing to listen to him press minis, because viewers like you had ordered 1,000 hand press minis that he was making in his garage. To go all the way from heating the plastic up and doing that himself to beautiful things like the inner core being readily made and available for you is such an incredible journey, and I'm so stoked for my friend and the company that he's created. The inner core is a beauty and a fantastic throwing putter, especially if you're a newer player or you're just looking for sort of a workhorse putter that can do it all. My personal favorite of the lineup so far, though, has to be the Dune. You've got this beautiful yellow that I absolutely adore. You've got this, wait a minute. I don't know if you guys are supposed to see that yet. And the Dune to me only gets better with time. Going from a straight neutral flyer to a seasoned, easy flip-up opportunity. The Dune is a staple in my bag, and I'm so grateful for Jesse stepping in and helping me make this distance stream even possible with these overweight dunes. If you'd like to check out some awesome TrashPanda products yourself, make sure you head over to their website and check them out in the link in the description below. Thanks again to Jesse and the team for making Vlogmas a little more possible. Now it's time for a super important note before we actually throw in the field, and that is speed of the hand in the simulator versus speed of the hand out on the course. When you're in a simulator or you're throwing into the net, you're not really concerned about the overall result of the flight because it's going to simulate that experience. That means if I have a really bad grip lock and I really pull it to the right, then I'm not really too concerned about that happening because it's just going to hit a wall or hit the net and it's not going to go that far. I'm out on the course, I could bring people into play, or I could have a really bad shot. As you're definitely going to see in Vlogmas videos, while I'm trying to work on increasing my speed of the hand, I definitely have some shankaronis that occur. And that can shake my confidence drastically the rest of the round. So whatever your average speed is, let's say while you're in the simulator, you want to take off 3 to 4 miles an hour when you're actually out on the course, because when you're throwing a little more protected rather than just mad ripping into a net, that's going to bring those factors into play. But for this test, I honestly don't really give a rip where it goes. I just want to throw it out there and see what we get. There definitely could and most likely are going to be some grip blocks here, but trying to get that speed and really increase that motion and feel that hit, because that's like a wild stallion that we're trying to tame, but we have to know the stallion before we can tame the stallion. Hole 5, George Ward, bane of my existence. The goal is that by the end of this year that I'm reaching that short pin, 407 feet pretty comfortably. The really tough part about this hole in per se is that like you can't throw the Anheuser because this tree's in the way, and you can't really push it wide at the end because that tree's in the way. So kind of just got to throw 400 on a rope, but we don't really care about that today. We're just trying to throw. Here we go. A little more hyzer out of these guys. Okay. I mean, these feel like it's crazy. When you pick up a 175 gram disc and a 168 gram disc, you feel the difference. I mean, it's the exact same thing here. These feel very heavy. That's better. That's a lot better. We gave that one some height. There we go. Yeah, once again, we're not really concerned about it turning over and whatnot. That's those four. We're going to throw these, and then we're going to go range find them. Yeah. I mean, that's a bummer that that hit that tree because we cooked that one. I was going to go far. All right, rangefinder time. I bet the mic will disconnect. Okay, first one we burned over. Definitely not going to be that far. It's a bummer because we can't really add this one to the data. All right, so out of the 4 shots, we had one that we shanked that came in at like 220, and then the others all came in at 290, 290, and 300. We'll remove the outlier, averaging about 290, 295 with the heavy ones. The one was cooking, hit a tree, and landed right next to the one that landed 300, and then the other was also 300. So we know that we are averaging further with the lightweight ones, but definitely not a ton to tell there off the first one, so we're gonna go one more round. This is why doing this in real nature is a problem, is because I like the wind is just beating this down and I give it a chance. There we go. That was a good one. And the wind's just going to say no again. And we knew we had to give it a chance and give it some height, because if we don't, the wind's just going to say no. Burned it again. Understandably, I mean, it's hard on the ones that get burned over. Like, we're throwing dunes. It's a neutral disc, because this disc, if you get it up, it glides really well. It's a fantastic thrower, but when you crank over on it like that, it's like this throw doesn't produce distance when you throw shots like that. So it could if you have the right disc in your hands, but we're trying to throw flat shots here. So juicing like that. Yeah. On the hard part is we got 4 heavy dunes and we have 2 lightweight dunes, or 2 normal dunes, I should say. And we threw, of the 2 normal dunes, of the 4 throws, 2 of them were bad. So tough data. All right, so shocking fact that the outlier here at 356 was the heavy dune. I think this does give me promise though. I mean, just on sheer sample size, as many heavy dunes as I have lightweight dunes, I should have just brought the rest of them. Or maybe I don't, because I have given away quite a few dunes recently. It's just great discs to beginners, and so I have given them a lot. So we're gonna head back to the house, add up and crush the numbers to give final thoughts. I think that we're taking away a lot. All right, so here's the deal. I'm a liar. I'm not going back to the house. Well, think about this, that our average distance when we take out the outlier of the 220-foot shot and the outlier of the 350-foot shot with the heavy ones, we're really averaging around 300 feet, which we were averaging a little or just over on the 2 that count, in terms of I didn't completely just crush them over to the right. And once again, you guys can let me know if that makes me a bad data scientist, but hitting a tree on a disc that was going well just halts the distance, so that data is irrelevant. And then also, I mean, we burned one over straight in the ground, like it literally hit and rolled. So I agree that theoretical distance doesn't matter if we can't translate it to an actual disc golf shot. If I'm learning to throw in a way that's making me juice them and burn everything over to the right, that's not a good form, that's not a good throw. But we saw that there were several that went off and did what they were supposed to. I threw a 181 gram mid-range 350 feet on flat ground. So I do think it gives me hope doing my sessions with these, truly going back to lighter weight discs, what the differences are. What do you guys think? Do you think it's going to work? Do you think this experiment is silly? Would love to hear your thoughts. Once again, we're trying to get theoretical here. I think that as disc golf continues to improve, we have to find some ways to advance, and heavier discs, while not PDGA legal, could be sort of the weight training thing that we're looking for. In the meantime, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Make it fantastic for someone else too. But for now, we're going to leave you with the birdie.